In today's show, we are going to understand the strengths of the incumbent supplier in Japan, peek behind the velvet curtain at how buying decisions are made, and look at how we need to overcome inertia and ensconce ourselves as the new supplier. Za eigyo desu. それでは行きましょう. So let's get going. This is the Sales Japan series, and we are broadcasting around the world from the Beverly Hills of Japan, Minato-ku, here in downtown Tokyo. It's a very cool place here. I'm your host, Dr. Greg Story, president of Dalkani Training Japan, and the author of the bestseller, The Bible of Selling in Japan, Japan Sales Mastery. We are all in sales, so in this podcast, I want to help you to 1, sell more and do it more easily. 2, exceed your targets, actually blow up your targets. And 3, make some serious money. I have other podcasts, the Leadership Japan series and the Presentation Japan series, wherever you get your podcasts. And this one on sales goes out every Tuesday night, midnight, Tokyo time. Now, this is episode number 117. And today we are talking about how to handle, we are happy with our current supplier, Pushback. Japan loves the devil they know over the angel they don't know. Change here is hard to achieve in any field because of the inbuilt fear of mistakes and failure. This country takes risk aversion to the highest heights in business. There are no rewards for salaried employees to take risk. There are massive career downsides, though, if things go wrong due to an initiative they introduced. Personal accountability is not very popular here. The decision-making system is also a nightmare in this regard. Who is the decision maker? Probably no single person. The meeting we attend may have 1 to 3 people present in the room, but they are the tip of the iceberg. An iceberg we will never get to meet, by the way. Behind the walls of the office sit their other colleagues who have to sign off and agree on the change. The checks and balances of Japanese organizations guarantee a few things. 1 is it makes for good communication internally. No one faces an unpleasant surprise. I've found most Japanese, as individuals, are not good at dealing with the unexpected. The sudden emergence of something that had not been previously factored in has these staff rushing for emergency exits in fear. The other thing this system supplies is the opportunity for all the vested interests to have their say. Fast action is not viewed as a plus. Reaching a consensus is very important in Japan, and people expect to have input into any new arrangements. The piece of paper suggesting the change physically moves around the section heads' desks, and each one applies their hanko or stamp to the document, indicating they're okay with the change. Nothing will happen until all of those stamps are there. Turning up and finding the buying team are already quite happy with their current supplier means a lot of work has to be done internally by the people we are making to make a change away from the known and established order. Who wants more work? No one in Japan, that's for sure. When you are dealing with small to middle-sized firms, the supplier arrangements can be even trickier. They often have a strong owner running the show. They make a lot of the key decisions and then everyone else does the execution of the decision. You may not get to meet with the dictator directly. In many cases, the current supplier company was supplying their grandfather who started the business. Many a good time was had on the golf course, being entertained in the Ginza by geisha, and visiting expensive cabaret clubs together in the good old days. Gifts flowed thick and fast as well to cement the relationship. The current generation of the heads of the respective businesses may have been at school together, have marriage links between the two families, or belong to special clubs as members. I see these connections at my very exclusive Rotary Club here in Tokyo. These are successful families who move in the same circles. The third generation of family business heads have deep links together built up over the last generations. Why would they change their trusted supplier to you? Now that is an excellent question. Find out more when we come back from the break. Our show today is brought to you by the Sales Advantage course. This is the best sales course in Japan by far. Post it in-house or join our public programs. Would you like it in Japanese or in English? Well, you can email me at greg.story@dalecarnegie.com. Get serious, buy my book, The Bible on Selling in Japan, the bestseller, Japan Sales Mastery. Check out our website, enjapan.dalecarnegie.com. Awesome value over there, so have a look at that. Go to Japan Dale Carnegie TV on YouTube for over 750 free training videos. And watch the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show on YouTube. It is required viewing, folks, if you want to be successful in business, and it is released every Tuesday, Tokyo time. Welcome back. Be it a big corporate or a smaller concern, there are a lot of barriers to change in supplier relationships in Japan. Frankly, we have few levers at our disposal as a result. The one thing that companies fear in common, though, is getting left behind by their competitors. The globalization of business has meant these harmonious relationships between supplier and buyer are getting shaken up. Just explaining the details, benefits, quality, and pricing advantage of the solution you provide are not enough. We need to lob some dynamite into their current cozy little supplier arrangements by bringing up their exposure to being blindsided by a competitor. We need to remind them that the best solution will win in the market, or at least reduce their market share. We need to point out that in a competitive industry, no one cares about the depth of the existing relationships because they are fully focused on their survival. Rivals will make key supplier changes, and these will trigger changes across the industry as everyone else has to adjust accordingly. By getting ahead of the curve, they can win time to adjust and win market share for themselves vis-a-vis their rivals. Price and quality differentials only become meaningful in this light in the current market. Just talking about price or quality in isolation won't move the buyers to make any changes. The effort to make new or change supplier arrangements needs a strong reason in Japan, or else everyone just defaults to a do-nothing stance. This requires we come armed with examples of where a change in supplier arrangements wiped certain companies out. The best option is relating changes in their industry. But even if we don't have that, we need to show evidence of how dangerous it can be to avoid change. The drivers of change are plain to see. Globalization, changing supplier options, Japan's declining population driving companies to take desperate measures to stay afloat, technical advances challenging existing business relationships, currency movements impacting pricing, etc. We say fear and greed drive behavior. Well, in Japan, the fear factor is certainly more pronounced than the greed factor. So lead with the downside of non-action rather than the upside of a new initiative. Paint a picture of how the advantages of your solution could become dangerous in the wrong hands. That is to say, their competitors. Advise them to not give an unfair advantage to their rivals by not making the change today. Express the importance of urgency, the time factor, exigency to take action right now. We need to do this to drive the imperative of all those characters sitting behind the wall of the office. get their hunko out and stamp the recommendation showing their support for it. The people we are meeting are not the final decision makers, so we need to arm them with the required nuclear harpoon to break through all the inertia and resistance to change that is the hallmark of business in Japan. Did you enjoy the Sales Japan series brought to you by the Sales Advantage course? Please work on your karma and tell your family, friends and colleagues. You can email me at greg.story@dalecarnegie.com. Don't forget to go to our website enjapan.dalecarnegie.com. Also, listen to the Leadership Japan series and the Presentations Japan series wherever you get your podcast. Check out over 750 videos at Japan Dale Carnegie TV on YouTube. Watch the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show on YouTube. It comes out every Tuesday. And get your copy of the Bible, the bestseller, Japan Sales Mastery. Immediately apply what you learned today. Go out there and make some serious money. Bucks, dough, moolah, coin, dosh, lolly, reddies, smackers, bread and honey.